Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started here in a couple seconds. Everyone find a seat. Some seats on the bleachers. Okay, welcome back to the 2018-2019 school year. Those of you who are new or don't know me, my name is Matthew McDougall. I teach world history here at the Freshman Center, but I've also worked closely with the Instructional Technology Department to facilitate integration of technology. I'm your keynote speaker today, and before we all migrate into various directions, just wanted to set some goals and visions for the upcoming school year. So I wanted to start first with some school-wide successes and failures from last year to set some goals and visions for where we're headed as a building. So we're going to start with the still to do's. I guess we don't like to call them failures. So the last year, as we all know, we had a difficult group of students come through the building. Our ABC rate dropped a little bit. So one of our goals will be to increase our ABC rate. And another one of the still to do's is to make sure that our freshmen are leaving on track to graduate. So last year we saw a negative 1.6% change in the on-track graduation rate, but with some interventions for second semester, we're able to get that number back up a little bit. Still not meeting our goal, but there was a positive change, as you can see, for second semester. And the last still to do is an attendance goal. So we want to increase our daily attendance to 95%. Last year it was 93%, so we had a negative 1% change. So we're going to have attendance still as a goal for the building. But some successes. So there's our goals. Increase rate to 87%, on track 95%, increase attendance just by 1%. But to the successes. First, AP World History score. So in 2017, on the 2017 exam, 43 students out of 147 passed, which was a 30% pass rate. Just this last year, we added more students to the program. We have this open enrollment. Any student can take it. So we bumped up nearly 30 students. And then we had almost 70 students out of 173, almost a 40% pass rate. That's a 10% gain. And then district-wide, 50% of our students who took the AP test passed. Another success is the actual, while our graduation rate over the last 5 years has steadily increased, and last year was one of our biggest, as you can see, is our highest graduation rate in the last 5 years. Our goal is to get this up over 80%. But that brings us to today's theme. As we reconvene here for the 2018 school year, we've been a one-to-one school for 5 years. We've kind of met our initial phase of technology integration, which we're going to address here in a second. And it's time to kind of move on to phase 2 of the technology integration. So, over the summer, you guys received an email that asked about your familiarity with technology, with your comfort level, with your experiences with it, what it means to you. So we're going to use some of your feedback from that survey to inform some of this presentation this morning. So we asked over the summer, how would you define the term educational technology? And some of the key words that stuck out from your responses are up here on the screen. Facilitate, analysis, learning, data, interactive, necessary, leads to deeper understanding, engaging, enhancement. Now these are, of course, the positive words that we pulled out. There were some negative words. We're trying to keep it positive here for the beginning of the semester, the beginning of the school year. And just as an example of what technology can do for the building, just a real quick video of what the Freshman Center was up to this year in the STEM department.
My favorite part about the STEM course would be being in advanced classes, being an 8th grader and taking high school classes, freshman, and having a high school experience of how it would be and being prepared for what's coming next.
Honestly, my favorite part about STEM is projects. They're all pretty fun, but one that was pretty fun, I think, was the turbine one. Because my group came second best. We created around 100 megawatts of power. We only came second to a group that did 130. And I really liked it because the play design that I used is something that I created.
I earned the respect of my teachers and those of my peers while going through the year, so it's been a really nice experience for me, just meeting all these great people and all these great teachers.
Kind of good to incoming 8th graders into the program would be to just try hard because, like, honestly, if you don't, then you don't know what will happen to you. Like, there are plenty of people in here who are smart but just don't put in the work and effort, but they still do a great job and they deserve to be here.
I really enjoy teaching these 8th graders. They really are the best of the best. Every year that I've done this, they continuously surprise me as far as their ingenuity and their creativity and their work ethic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what next year's class is going to be.
So as you can see, the Morton STEM program is up to amazing things, and you can see that technology is a cornerstone of that program. You did catch one kid in there using paper and pencil, which is still okay. Paper and pencil is still technology, and sometimes it is useful and purposeful. Alright, so that brings us to where we're at as a district for the last 5 years. So when we decided to go in a technology direction into the one-on-one environment, the question of the digital divide came up. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this term, the digital divide is an idea that students with low access to technology, no internet at home, low broadband, no technology in school, are losing out. It's an equity and access argument that these students are going to be left behind in the 21st century simply because they don't even have access to the internet, and maybe the only place they can go is the library. Now, this debate of the digital divide is a global thing. So, the United States, here in communities here, it is still an issue. Rural communities, some urban communities, low income. It mostly affects students of color and low income. So that is a problem. On a global scale, you're talking about students and kids who've never even maybe attended school or have never seen a computer or been on the internet ever in their life. But that is a whole nother debate for another time. Here, so we first tried to solve the problem of the digital divide for here at Morton for our students in Cicero, Illinois. And so our response to that digital divide was the infrastructure. So we provided the infrastructure. So this is taken from the Morton Instructional Technology page. I'm not good on this side of the technology with all the hardware and actual infrastructure, but someone's told me that this is good. So 2 gigabytes per second internet speed for all the kids. Everyone has been given end-user devices to include PC and laptops. We have 70-plus virtualized servers, interactive whiteboards in all the classrooms, and every student that comes through and every staff now has an Office 365 account, which is we're gonna talk about when we get to the 4 C's of the 21st century. That has gone a long way for our communication. So we've kind of solved this. Well, I wouldn't say maybe solved it, but we have addressed the digital divide with our students as far as access goes. But there's still work to be done. So that brings us to the new digital divide. So here is a graphic from the the Federal Department of Educational Technology. This is a report that they put out about how technology should be being used in the classroom. So now that we have this technology, we want to get away from this child on the left. So yes, our students now have computers. What are they doing with these devices? Is it simply become a replacement tool for paper and pencils? Are they just passively still listening to teachers and just typing notes now instead of writing them? Or are they actually using it to create and access new media, make global connections, design their own work, and create their own products? And this is the direction that technology should be going in the classroom. So the new digital divide is where we're at. So our short-term goal for the next 2 or 3 years is to now address this, the new digital divide. So back to that survey that we did over the summer, we're really headed towards this framework of a 21st century. And most of you, when you see these, you're like, well, as teachers, it's intuitive that this is what we do every day. Critical thinking, collaboration, communication, creativity. Well, the introduction of the one-to-one environment has really opened the door for collaboration and communication. Most of us were already doing critical thinking when teachers talk about their lessons and what they want kids to do. Critical thinking has always been a part of education. With the 365 accounts, and peer-to-peer editing and file sharing and being able to contact parents or teachers and students, collaborating, and OneNote has allowed a lot of collaboration as well. Communication with designing their own projects and reports and then presenting them and sharing them. So those skills are also coming into focus with the introduction of a one-to-one environment. The creativity part is where I think what we're lacking and what we need to add. So that's what we're going to be focused on this year. So we asked in this survey over the summer, your ideas about has technology helped engagement and achievement? And we were met with a multitude of answers. One of the foremost was, if it was on the no side, or at least in the middle, like for some kids it doesn't, for some kids it does not, is the distraction argument. Technology obviously can be used for bad in the classroom. Kids are easily distracted, and some students don't have the self-control to stay on task. And I think that's just a battle that we're going to have to deal with. So that was one of the major complaints, was the distraction. Other things were gaps in student tech abilities. And then a lot of people responded that, well, there's no data yet to support that the one-to-one environment has actually improved achievement and engagement. So we're still, some people want to see the data. On the flip side, some of the positives that we heard was that it has improved intellectualism, that work is now accessible from anywhere, that it's improved communication between students and teachers with just like a simple app like Remind.com. Students can ask questions and engage on discussion boards at Padlet. It's interactive. They can get feedback right away with OneNote synced to the cloud. So a lot of these things that we take for granted now is changing the way we're teaching. And one of the most, one comment that stood out to me was someone mentioned that when it's used beyond just replacing pens and notebooks, it becomes a great tool for projects, research, collaboration, and presentations. Which is a great segue for me into the next part of this presentation, which is the goal for today's Institute Day and all professional development for the rest of this year, is the SAMR model. So the SAMR model is a hierarchy of technology integration, and some educators have kind of hybrid this SAMR model with the Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom's taxonomy has formed a lot of our curriculum development in the past, our depth of knowledge goals, our mastery learning objectives that we have to put on the board. And we've always been trying to aim for these higher order thinking skills. That's what Bloom's gave us. From remembering and recall facts to understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating. If you take the hybrid with technology, you could see how the Bloom's lines up with the SAMR model. So when we first get introduced to technology, we're at the substitution level. That's simply, like, for example, OneNote. Just simply distributing a worksheet into OneNote, but still pretty much using it the same way. Augmentation has some functional improvement. So maybe now with that worksheet on OneNote, the students are somehow interacting with it in a way that they couldn't with a piece of paper. Like maybe they're cutting or moving pieces of text around on a page into the correct spot. Our goal is to get to the modification and redefinition. So when we asked people about the SAMR gradient of technology, this was the result with the responses. So a very small group of people believe they're still in the substitution level. Many found themselves in the augmentation, so we're still lower down on the gradient. A good portion has moved into modification, and very few have moved into the redefinition. So our goal as a district is now to get that red half of the square into the yellow and eliminate the blue. Okay, so we are trying to move towards the redefinition part of this gradient, and technology is going to give us that opportunity. So then we wanted to find out, well, if you're in that substitution zone or even in that augmentation zone, what is it that is making you hesitant about integrating technology? And one of the biggest responses here was, and this is why the theme of this Institute Day and the rest of the year, one of the biggest responses was lack of professional development, which, based on this referenced image, inadequate professional development is the significant barrier to integrating technology in the classroom. So it can't just be, here's the technology, one simple training, go try to use it on your own in isolation. It has to be consistent, it has to be effective, it has to be meaningful, it has to have examples for how it can take one of your current lessons and transform it into something else to give it that redefinition piece. So professional development. Other common barriers to the SAMR gradient is just simple lack of tech knowledge. So many of us are masters of our content. This is called the TPACK diagram. Many of us are either masters of pedagogy and instructional methods. Some of us that are new or newer teachers are still trying to master that yellow part of this Venn diagram. But the tech knowledge is where we are lacking, and this is where we need to find the balance. So hopefully this year we will address the technological knowledge piece. And so we asked you guys, so again, with the hesitation, the third hesitation, the biggest thing was lack of familiarity with specific apps and software and free web-based tools you can use for students to create and produce amazing things in your class. And also this is also going to take kind of a culture shift away from concrete, objective multiple choice tests to allowing kids to produce products that can be assessed. They're going to have to give a little bit more freedom for what counts as a final summative piece of assessment. So here you can see Grammarly was the most popularly known app. That's a simple grammar identification add-on. You can see many of the other literacy things that are, some of them are even assistive technology for kids with dyslexia. Scribble is an annotation tool that's great for websites, and a lot of these other ones have speech to text capabilities or text to speech for our students that struggle with writing. And in line with that, these tools are more product-based tools where kids can demonstrate their creativity. So here comes the creativity piece back to those 4 C's. So kids can be integrating these into their products. Canva, Poll Everywhere, Powtoon, Storybird, and Storyboard That are just a few of the pieces of software and apps that we're going to introduce this year that students can gain access to. So at this point, does anyone have questions? Yes, Miss Wilson. Yep. Yes, we have added some charging stations in the cafeteria and library, so students should not have dead computers as an excuse anymore. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. O'Sullivan? Yep, that's a great question. Yes, Mastery Manager has been streamlined with Skyward, so that our data system from Common Assessments has been streamlined to make transfer of grades from Mastery Manager to the gradebook easier. Anyone else? Yes, Mrs. Gonzalez, Fortnite has been blocked officially. Okay, so there's no other questions. Here's the agenda for today. You can see that our SAM-R model is the cornerstone of what we're doing this year for professional development. So, of course, we're at the all-group stage. I'm the keynote speaker. We're almost done here. You're going to have a brief 30-minute meeting with your actual school. Then we'll have a brief 50 minutes with your actual department. And then we're going to have our SAM-R carousel, our rotation stations. They're each going to be an hour long with 10-minute breaks in between. And you can see below what some of our goals are today. So some people are going to be getting new Promethean boards to replace the outdated, which is amazing that 3- and 4-year-old Dell interactive boards are outdated already, but that is the nature of technology. So a lot of teachers are piloting the Promethean boards this year, and they will be getting training and support in Gold 2. For many of those Google add-ons for literacy that were on the survey results, you'll be headed to Blue 3. Apps and software for student production and creativity, you'll be heading to Green 1. And this year we're going to be also piloting the Microsoft Teams, which is a new app through Microsoft 365. And many teachers have been using OneNote for a couple years, so we're going to get you into a OneNote Advanced and see what more OneNote can do for our students, and what other apps now are available on Microsoft 365. So I just want to leave you with this. It's a very short video, but it does speak to the power that technology can. Now this is more of an assistive technology tool, but it gives you a glimpse of what technology can do for some of our students that are feeling left behind.
The true purpose of education is to create possibility.
It was a little hard for me. People laugh whenever I read sometimes.
Well, they knew how to read, and I didn't. I will never be good at reading. I will probably be held back again. It highlights the words to know where I am.
When it's reading, I see spaces between the words, and it's easy to focus on.
The first time I actually could read that book, I was proud of myself.
I was very proud of myself. Good job, Joey.
When technology and education come together, possibility becomes reality.
I want to read every book in here.
All right, everyone have a good day. Let's go get them Mustangs.